Welcome to Fresh Start with Jason Cline.
Welcome back to the Fresh Start podcast with attorney Jason Cline, founder of the law offices of Jason Cline in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jason helps individuals and families across New Mexico find clarity and confidence through Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy solutions. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about some of the biggest myths that keep people from getting the help they need and what that truth really looks like. Jason, welcome back, sir.
Oh, thank you, Evan. Great to see you again.
Good to see you too, brother. What are some of the most common myths or misconceptions you hear from people who are afraid to even consider bankruptcy as an option?
Some of the biggest myths that I hear are that the bankruptcy will just ruin your life forever.
Yeah,
That
yes.
yep, definitely. And that you'll lose everything that you own. And that it means that you failed financially. So those misconceptions can stop people from even learning what their options are. The other big one is that everybody's going to know. It did used to be that bankruptcies were published in the newspaper. Really doesn't happen anymore. People are only going to find out that you filed if they're looking for it. So most of the time, the reality is that bankruptcy is far less scary than what people imagine.
A lot of people think that filing for bankruptcy means that they will lose everything they own. What's the truth about what they actually get to keep, though, Jason?
The truth is that most people will keep everything. Hardly anybody loses anything in bankruptcy. So the bankruptcy laws, they include exemptions that protect essential property like vehicles, household goods, retirement accounts, and even equity in your home. And the goal of bankruptcy isn't just to take everything away from you. It's to give people a chance to reset without losing the basics they need to live and work. And probably be really surprised at how far those basics stretch out there.
Another fear you hear all the time is I'll never get that good credit again. How realistic is that?
It's actually not realistic at all.
Oh, wow.
In fact, most people are going to start receiving credit offers shortly after filing, within a couple weeks. Your mailbox starts filling up for offers with credit cards and car loans. Now, not all of this credit is good credit. I mean, rebuilding it is absolutely possible. And with the right steps, most people can start improving their credit within months and be in a strong position within a year or two.
Incredible stuff. Some people believe bankruptcy ruins their reputation or becomes public in a way everyone will see, like you kind of mentioned earlier. How do you explain what really happens there after they do that?
So technically, bankruptcy is a public record,
Okay.
but it's not something that just gets published in the newspaper or announced to your employer or your neighbors. There's not a big sign that goes up that says that I filed for bankruptcy. So unless someone's actively searching for the court records, they're never going to know. For most people, bankruptcy is a very private process. In fact, you'd probably be surprised at the number of friends and family that you have that have filed that you don't even know about.
Hmm. What about the idea that bankruptcy is maybe a moral failure or it means that someone did something wrong with their money or mismanaged money or doesn't know how to use money? What about those misconceptions?
So, this one is probably the hardest of the myths to overcome.
Mhm.
Most people who file didn't get into their debt because of bad choices. It's medical bills, job loss,
Yeah.
divorce, inflation. I mean, the cost of groceries and gas right now, it's insane. And then high interest lending. These creditors, I mean, they're the ones who are in the wrong when they're putting those kind of interest rates on things. So, bankruptcy exists because of the financial hardship happens. Using a
Mhm.
legal tool to protect yourself and your family isn't a failure. It's actually responsible.
There's also the myth that bankruptcy is only for people who are completely broke, who actually qualifies. And how far does this financial stress have to go before it makes sense to file?
You don't have to be completely broke to file. Many people who file are still working, still paying bills, and are just barely keeping up. So when you're living paycheck to paycheck and all of your money is just going out to pay these debts, and that debt is controlling your life, limiting your options, it's preventing you from moving forward, it may make sense to look into bankruptcy, even if you are making these payments because you're just living to pay at that point.
So Jason, some people tell themselves that their situation isn't bad yet, so they'll just wait and wait and wait. Why does waiting too long often make things harder to fix?
Waiting, it means that you're going to be paying more interest, more fees. If you're missing payments, there could be lawsuits, garnishments. You're not putting anything in your savings. By the time that people act, they've lost the options that they could have had earlier. They've spent a lot more money than they had to on this debt, and that debt will snowball. So, filing earlier can mean that you keep more choices. There's less damage to you, and your recovery is just going to be smoother.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things people worry about is that they'll never be able to buy that car or that home again. What do you usually tell clients about getting back, to normal financially?
I tell them that bankruptcy is often what allows them to get back to normal.
Mm.
By eliminating or restructuring the debt, it improves your debt to income ratio and opens doors to future lending. So, with vehicles, you start getting offers for car loans before you even receive a discharge order. They're very easy to get after the filing of a bankruptcy. Now, you got to be smart about it because you will pay high interest rates, but it is a great way to build credit if you're in need. Houses, it is 2 years before you qualify for conventional lending again. But oftentimes, mortgage brokers send people out to file for bankruptcy so that they will be able to qualify in the future.
Mm.
So, and with the time and smart credit habits, I mean, you can buy a car or a home, and it's a very achievable goal after bankruptcy.
And Jason, for someone who feels ashamed even thinking about bankruptcy, how do you help them see it as a responsible decision instead of something that is something to be embarrassed about?
I remind them that bankruptcy is a legal financial tool. In fact, it's a right, and it's designed to help people recover, not something to be ashamed of. Congress has called bankruptcy a fresh start for an honest but unfortunate person. So, choosing to address the problem, protect your future, reduce stress on your family is a responsible decision. For many people, it's the first step towards stability. It's not a sign of failure. But right now, just don't face it alone. Just give me a call.
Awesome. Jason, appreciate you again.
All right. Thank you, Evan.
All right. That's it for today's episode of the Fresh Start Podcast. To learn more about attorney Jason Cline and how he can help you navigate bankruptcy with confidence, visit attorneyjasoncline.com. Thank you for listening. And remember to subscribe, share, and leave the review if you found this episode helpful. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.